We just finished up just under 2 months in Nicaragua, and I thought I would dispense my, albeit completely anecdotal, experience upon you and hopefully give you some tips, recommendations on traveling in Nicaragua. So, by the way, if you fancy taking the piss out of the way I'm saying that, it's because I can't pronounce my R's very well. So it's not like somebody who's just traveled and is like, oh, it's Barcelona. It's just because Nicaragua has a hint of a W in there when I say it. Anyway, we ended up doing, I think, most of the popular places in Nicaragua. So we did San Juan del Sur, Popoyo, Ometepe, Granada, Managua, Corn Island, and Leon. So quite a few places. I know there are going to be other places that are potentially better, off the beaten track, but we didn't get around to doing it, so get off my case. Overall, it was really good. It was very different to Costa Rica, but a welcome change. There weren't many people. It was a nice change compared to Santa Teresa, which was jam-packed. Out of those list of locations, if I could pick two, I would say Granada and Corn Island. Granada because you have, not only is the town really nice, but Laguna de Apoyo and Masaya Volcano is a great day. It was the best day I had in Nicaragua. And also Masaya Volcano, I think, is one of 8 places in the world where you can actually see into a lava lake, which frankly blew my mind. I think in the video I didn't have the appropriate words, and I still don't. The scale is incredible. I like things of that scale, big things, so for me it was up there with the Northern Lights, which I appreciate is potentially contentious. But if you had to do one thing in Nicaragua, I would say go to Masaya Volcano. It's incredible. And then Corn Islands they're both completely different to the Pacific side. It's, you know, incredibly beautiful Caribbean island, a place to relax and enjoy yourself. If I could skip 2 places, I would skip San Juan del Sur, purely because, you know, it's probably unfair to call it a party town, but that's what it's known for. Because there's not many tourists there at the moment, Sunday Funday is non-existent and it's lost, I guess, one of its main attractions. And then I would skip Leon because it's slightly out of the way, it's further north, and, you know, there's a couple of museums and a big cathedral, but the rooftop of the cathedral's lovely. It's great for pictures, but it's 20 minutes, so it's probably not worth the detour. And all of those places are worth visiting. I mean, Ometepe was great for, you know, we stayed there for a week. You could do it in 4 days. You climb the volcano. They all have their, you know, their attractions. So don't let me put you off going to these places. But yeah, if I could pick 2, it would definitely be Granada and Corn Islands. But accommodations available, obviously there's not that many people there at the moment. In terms of price, it's a lot cheaper. I think we totted up what we spent, and it was less than a third of what we spent per month in Costa Rica. So that's a good thing. There are a few things that I think would be useful. So some of these things are anecdotal. Well, all of these things are anecdotal. So there's been a few people commenting on certain items. I'd be interested to know what other people's experiences have been. I mean, there are only 2 things that I think produce a lot of frustration. The first was the internet. I think that to call it slow and patchy would be polite. If you have a project or you're trying to work remotely from Nicaragua, it's just not worth it. It's too patchy. I would say that 30 to 40% of the time. At the places that we were staying, the internet just didn't work or calls would cut out. So if you have time-pressing things like calls, you just can't do it. So it's just not workable. And the second one revolves mainly around taxis. this could be an issue with my Spanish and my communication skills, but there are actually 3 taxi-related issues. One, they ask for the name of the place where you're going, but they will never have heard of it. So that's not helpful at all. And 2, they don't use maps. Even if you download Google Maps, which you definitely should, it helps eventually. I have literally been in 2 taxis and shown them the map, and they don't bother using it, and you're lost because they've never heard of the place that you're staying. So you spend a lot of time trying to figure out where you are because the taxi drivers don't use what I would consider to be normal things for a taxi driver, i.e. a map. The second part of taxis is that don't ask them if they want to come back or wait, just get another taxi. I had a taxi driver say, "Oh, call me when you're done and I'll come and pick you up," and then he waited anyway and tried to charge me, and then tried to charge me more for the return journey, which was the exact same distance. It was only $2 or $3, but it's the principle. I was under the impression that it was on him, that if he wanted to wait because he had a guaranteed fare, that was his decision, not mine, but I should have clarified whether I was paying him to wait. Don't bother, just get another taxi. There's loads of taxis. And then the third one, which was one where we got stung the worst for, was, again, not clarifying price. I would do that anywhere else, but for some reason we just didn't do it. It was getting a taxi to the airport in the morning. We were already late, and we put our stuff in the taxi and asked him how much it was. And usually from the place we were staying in Managua, it was, I think, $5, maybe less, and he charged us $30. But there weren't any other taxis. It was 4:30 in the morning. Our stuff was already in the car, so he knew he had us, and we got screwed. If we had more time, we would have just unloaded the car and got another taxi, but stupidly we were late. Not good planning. The other thing, and this is true in Costa Rica, and I imagine other places in Central America, if you need something specific, you have to go to the capital. So you have to go to Managua, or in Costa Rica you have to go to San Jose. So for instance, my MacBook broke and I had to go to Managua to give it to the only place that could fix it. It took 2 to 3 weeks, and honestly that was expected, but I would be prepared. Luckily I had a backup, so that helped. There's a few people that have commented on the political situation there, and I am by no means au fait with the political landscape in Central America. In fact, if you're looking for actual information on the political situation in Nicaragua, you'd probably have more luck speaking to a hairless chimp than me. I mean, I was supposed to go to Nicaragua 3 to 4 years ago, I guess, and had to change last minute because the country essentially shut down. And I appreciate that it's potentially a little bit dicey and things can change quickly, but at no point did we feel unsafe at all. So that's probably not very helpful. You'll have to do your own research. As I said, I am useless when it comes to that. And then, the final part, going back into Costa Rica, make sure that the stamp that you get in your passport is legible, because they stamped ours and it was as if the guy had ran out of ink and not bothered to refill it. So we got to the Costa Rican border and they couldn't find the stamp, and then you have to go, probably half a mile back to the Nicaraguan border, and they won't let you in because you don't have a Costa Rican stamp, and it's a whole mess. Eventually we found it, and you could barely see it, but because of that our bus had to leave. And then in Peñas Blancas, which is at the Costa Rican border, there are no taxis. There's no, if your bus leaves, you are, especially if you're in a situation where we needed to get to the airport within 6 hours, we made our flight by 2 minutes. So just make sure the stamp can be seen. Probably hasn't happened to anybody else, but it was a stressful time. And Nicaragua's, it's good. The Pacific coast, the roads are dirt roads for most of the time. If you get a hire car, check the tyres. This happened in Costa Rica to somebody as well. He got a hired car and then 2 days later got a flat, checked the tyres, and they were already bare, definitely not drivable. And so they were stuck with not only a flat, but 3 other tyres that were going to puncture almost immediately on those types of roads. So I don't think the rental company had much sympathy for them. So check your tyres, because the roads are not great. I'm biased, but although I said go to Granada and Corn Islands, I think you have to go to Popoyo as well, because Nicaragua is known for its surf, and Popoyo is one of the best places to surf in Nicaragua. It suits all abilities, beginner to advanced. There's some world-class waves all the way down the coast. We actually spent the last week in Playa, Colorado, which is like a private estate, I guess. Expensive, $800 a week, but it's probably got one of the best waves in the area. So I had to go there. It was big for me, head and a half, maybe double overhead. I didn't surf the double overhead days, and a heavy barreling wave. It's one of those waves where you look on the videos and it looks incredible, and then you get out there and realize that your ability is being tested badly, and you are potentially out of your depth. But that's just me. Yeah, I'm repeating myself, but Popoyo, Ometepe, Granada and Corn Islands is actually a really good itinerary. It's a good trip, and there's a lot of variety in there. Just, if you go to Nicaragua, you have to go to Masaya Volcano. It was nuts. Go before sunset so you can see the scale of it, and then after the sun goes down, just stare into a lava lake. Yeah, have fun. I would go there. If you're in Costa Rica, get out of Costa Rica. Go to Nicaragua. You'll save a third of the money, and if you're surfing, you know, there's way less crowds and the waves are better. The waves are better. Hopefully that's useful. If there's anybody that has a different experience, I'm sure there are, and anybody that can provide additional information on, you know, taxis, internet, political situation, then let me know. I am now off to Switzerland for 2 weeks. Hopefully I can visit some cool places there, and then another step to the other side of the planet in Southeast Asia. So more to come.